Aside from the natural relationship, planets also have a temporal relationship. And this relationship can change as it depends on where the planets are placed in the horoscope. And the temporal relationship is there to fine-tune the natural relationship. Right? Planets may have their natural relationship, but if they're placed in certain positions from each other, they can temporarily behave like friends or enemies. Why do we remember there are three natural relationships: friends, enemies, and neutrals? But then there are also two temporary relationships, namely friends and enemies. And they are calculated by the distance between two planets, right? And whether that distance is favorable or unfavorable. And this is similar to how distance affects human relationships. Sometimes, due to circumstances, people come into our life and benefit us, or they might leave us and the relationship ends. Let's take your workplace as an example. Let's say you work with someone in the same office. And so there's of course close proximity, and the other person can be very helpful for you. And you might even become friends and hang out after working hours. But what if that person gets transferred to another department all of a sudden? Or they might have to relocate even to another city. Then your interactions are going to get less, the relationship is likely going to deteriorate, and of course that person is not going to be beneficial anymore for you. There's another situation that could negatively impact the relationship, and that is when you get too close, right? Perhaps that person, your coworker, is asked to not just work with you in the same office, but perhaps even to work with you on the same desk. And so now all of a sudden you get very close, and inevitably there will be tension, right? Because you're going to get overly familiar, cross lines, and then become disrespectful. In astrology, relationships function in a similar way. The planets can be at the right distance and of benefit, or they can be too far away and detrimental, or too close, which is also not good. So now how do we calculate temporary relationships? There's an easy way to remember. The planets, 3 signs in front and 3 signs behind the planet, become his temporary friends, and planets in all the other signs become his temporary enemies, and that includes also when they're in the same sign of the planet. So now let's look at this example here with a planet in Aries. So planets in 3 signs in front of Aries and 3 signs behind Aries become temporary friends. Right? They are close enough to help and support. That's like, let's say, your neighbor, right? He is close enough to give you a hand if you need him, maybe to come over with his toolbox and fix something. At the same time, he's also not too close to interfere with your life, right? So he's a friendly and supportive influence for you. Then there are the signs that are the most distant from Aries, right? Which are the signs 5 to 9, right? They're too far away to contribute in any meaningful way, and that's why they become temporarily hostile. So let's say your neighbor decides to move out, possibly move to another part of the city, then he's not there anymore. And so the relationship basically has lost its value and meaning for you. And then of course there's the other scenario when a planet joins a planet in the same sign. That's when personal boundaries dissolve, and we all know how challenging it can be to maintain harmony when someone is always in our space. And so imagine your neighbor, he is not just coming once over when you need him, but he is knocking on your door every single day. At first, the first few days, it can be nice. You might even welcome him, but over time, his constant presence is going to become a struggle, and you start to get really annoyed. So again, the natural relationships, they are based on the core qualities of planets, and those never change. Planets, they get along with each other or not based on their intrinsic qualities and unique personality. But then there are the circumstances that the planets are in, and those can either enhance the relationship or make it worse. And these are the temporary relationships.